Hi, hello friends, welcome to World Explorer India. Today, let's discuss about infection and infection prevention, the basic concepts. The first basic principle in hospital is do no harm. Means, if any patient is getting admitted in a hospital, they should get the treatment for whatever the problem they have, and they should not get any extra injury or extra harm to the patient. Now we can see some of the microorganisms here like Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, Pseudomonas, Klebsiella, MRSA, that is methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus. These are the microbes which are called hospital acquired infections. These infections which are not present at the time of admission for a patient, but they are getting infected with these microbes because of the improper maintenance of hospital environment or some of the wrongful practices, or because of wide variety of reasons patients are getting infections which they are not having at the time of admission. So these are called as hospital acquired infections. Now let's see what is infection. Infection is any foreign microbes, that is microorganism, entering into our body and creating sign and symptoms in a patient is called as infection. Now you can see here there is infection cycle. There is pathogen, then reservoir, means of escape, mode of transmission, means of entry, and then susceptible host. This is a cycle. Pathogen is, it may be a bacteria, virus, fungi. This pathogen will enter a susceptible host through a means of entry, and the time between entering from one host to another host, it will stay in a reservoir. It may be a mosquito or it may be a food. So this is an infection cycle. The routes are direct route and indirect route. Direct route is either the infection may transmit from person to person, or from hospital staff to the patient, or from visitors to the patient. And next thing is indirect routes of transmission is via food, drinks, or bed, linen, etc. So now we will see some of the infections which we commonly use in hospitals, which we see. One is cross infection. Cross infection is the infection which is occurring to a host from a host, that is called as cross infection. Auto infection is if the infection is occurring to the same person but between the two different sites. Means if a person is having a wound at one site, and if the same person is getting infected to another wound on another site, so it is called as auto infection. Reinfection. Reinfection means the patient is getting the same infection again, that is called as reinfection. Primary infection. The infection which is causing the patient to get admitted in the hospital is called as a primary infection. This is the first infection which the patient has got. Next is secondary infection. Secondary infection is also called as superinfection. This infection is caused after the primary infection. Means if already patient is having one infection and he is getting a second infection after some point of time, then it is called as a secondary infection or superinfection. Mixed infection. Patient might be having 2 to 3 type of infections at the same point of time. It is called as mixed infections. Acute infection. Example is measles disease. The patient is getting suddenly the infection, that is called as acute infection. Chronic infection is the patient is having this infection for a prolonged period of time. For example, TB, tuberculosis. Subclinical infection. Patient is having an infection but he is asymptomatic. that is called as subclinical infection. Nosocomial infections. These are also called as healthcare associated infections. The infection which is not present in the patient at the time of admission, but he has got this infection after admitting in a hospital, is considered to be a nosocomial infection. Congenital infection. Congenital infection means if a baby is getting infection from the mother, then it is called as a congenital infection. Bloodstream infections. If the infection is through the bloodstream, then it is called as bloodstream infections. And if it is through the surgical site, it is called as surgical site infection. And if it is through the urinary tract, it is called as urinary tract infections. And respiratory infections if it is through the respiratory system. And if it is through the food, we can say it is food poisoning. And next thing is ventilator associated pneumonia. If ventilator is not being properly sterilized, then it may cause ventilator associated pneumonia in a patient. CLA-BSI, central line associated bloodstream infection. CRBSI, catheter related bloodstream infections. Typhoid is caused by bacteria, yellow fever is caused by virus, filariasis is caused by the roundworm. These are some of the examples. Now, zones in the hospital. Zone A, where there is no patient contact, that is called as Zone A. Zone B, you can see there are patients who are susceptible, but they are not infected patients. These patients can be placed in Zone B. Zone C area is having infected patients, and we are isolating the patient, that is called as isolation units. Next is Zone D. This is a protective isolation. Here OT, operation theatre, delivery, NICU, transplantation units, hemodialysis units, etc. So these are the 4 zones in a hospital. Now, malnutrition is associated with the infection. If there is malnutrition, the patient is going to have impaired immunity and patient is becoming susceptible for the infection. The outcome of infection is a fever. So such type of infections are called as opportunistic infections. Means if patient is having impaired immunity and the patient is getting an infection, it is called as opportunistic infection. Sentinel event means hospital acquired infection resulting in death or permanent loss of a function, that is called as sentinel event. If there is a irreversible injury happened to a patient, then it is called as a sentinel event. If this hospital acquired infection is causing death of a patient or permanent loss of a function, it is called as a sentinel event. The prevention of infections is hand washing, personal protective equipment include gloves, mask, eyeglasses, face shield, and sneezing etiquette. Sneezing etiquette means do not sneeze in your hands, but you can sneeze in your elbow and go and hand wash immediately. That is called as sneezing etiquette. These are the 5 movements of hand hygiene: before touching a patient, before clean or aseptic procedure, after body fluid exposure risk, after touching a patient, and after touching patient surroundings. These are the 5 movements of hand hygiene. So you should do hand washing after all these 5. Vaccination is a protective measure for infections. BCG vaccination to protect from tuberculosis, hepatitis B, oral polio vaccine, rotavirus vaccine, measles, DPT, and TT. These are some of the vaccinations which we use to protect from major diseases. Blood culture, urine culture, these are the diagnostic tests which we use in our hospitals. Here we are seeing the microbiological analysis for resistance or susceptibility of a microorganism. Based on this, we are going to decide which antibiotic can be used for this patient. That is called as blood culture. Next is catheters. Use only when essential and remove when unessential. This will prevent majority of the infections. Coti bundle, catheter associated urinary tract infection. So for this you should do hand washing, avoid unnecessary urine catheters, insert urinary catheters using aseptic technique, maintain urinary catheters based on the recommended guidelines, and review urinary catheter necessity daily. Antibiotic resistance, use antibiotics as per antibiotic policy in the hospital. No touch technique, aseptic or aseptic non-touch technique. This will help in prevention of healthcare associated infections. Passing of shops, create a neutral zone. Don't hand over the shops. Use single hand techniques. Discard in a puncture proof container. Urinary. Now the precautions, standard universal precautions. It includes the personal protective equipment, mask, gloves, etc. And then additional precautions, contact precautions, droplet precautions, and airborne precautions. Standard precautions include hand hygiene, barrier precautions, patient placement, taking specific precautions, safe handling of shops and management of shop injuries, and safe disposal of clinical waste, safe handling of linen, cleaning of patient care equipment and environment, management of exposure. These are all come under the standard precautions. Transmission based precautions include airborne precautions. You should have N95 mask and use the negative air pressure in room and closed door. And next is droplet precautions. Face mask, door may be open. Contact precautions, the patient may need private room and doors may be open. Next is disinfection versus sterilization. Disinfection is cleaning an area and where the patient is not getting infected. That is called as disinfection. Sterilization is complete removal of microbes including the spores. It is called as sterilization. Biomedical waste management. We are seeing different types of bins in hospital: black, red, yellow and sharp container. Black is for general waste, red is used for the plastic waste, yellow is for the infected material, and sharps container for the sharps. Safety devices. Single use devices should be used to prevent majority of the infections. Now hospital acquired infections, fomites, anything which you come in contact in a hospital is called as a fomite, which can cause infection to a person is called as a fomite. Ventilation management, sometimes you have to use negative pressure ventilation, sometimes you have to use positive pressure ventilation, and avoid the overcrowding in hospitals. And patient may be in window period, that means patient is asymptomatic but patient may get symptomatic at later point of time, that is called as a window period. That means patient is hosting the microbe in his body but he is asymptomatic, that is called as a window period. Next is use aseptic procedures, and kitchen maintenance is very much essential to prevent the hospital acquired infections and also avoid the food poisoning. Housekeeping services and security staff. For example, in security staff, they should not allow flowers etc. inside the hospital. They should thoroughly check and send the visitors into the hospital. Health of the staff. All the staff is at risk of getting injuries in the hospital, so they may be getting needle prick injury. So in such cases they should know what is the post exposure prophylaxis and the incident reporting should be done in a appropriate manner. Nurse staffing is associated with healthcare associated infections. For example, pressure ulcers. If there is a good nursing care, there is decreased incidence of pressure ulcer in a patient. So nurse staffing is again related to infection rate in a hospital. Health education is a most powerful tool. Health is kept in their own hands. Training of public and healthcare personnel. Hospital Infection Control Committee plays a major role. So break the infections. For further classes on infection, do subscribe my YouTube channel, World Explorer India. Thank you.